Hi, I'm Dr. Dyan Haspel-Johnson, and it is time for a weekly sleep tip. So, one of the things that I think is the absolute most important thing that you can do for sleep is to rest. Sleep is really a symptom of not getting enough rest. And as a result, I think it's of the utmost importance to find time on a regular basis to rest. So what do I mean by that? What is rest? Rest is that sweet spot between sleep and awake. Now, if you think about it, the ways that people often have, maybe most of the time, have sleep problems has to do with those transitional states, right? So insomnia is a difficulty moving from being awake to being asleep. When we have insomnia, we have trouble shutting down our minds and getting them to be quiet so that we can move from that conscious awake state, that super alert, ruminating, busy, to-do list state, into a state of sleep. So it's really about that in-between, that movement, that transition, letting the mind rest, letting the body rest so that you can move into sleep. By the same token, fatigue during the day, feeling sluggish, feeling that brain fog, those kinds of things, feeling distracted, that is also a difficulty with transitions, right? That's being awake, but feeling like you're partly asleep, like you're not quite there, like you want to sleep, like you're exhausted. And that too is an issue with transition. Rest is that kind of sweet spot that's in between. It's where we feel like we are calm, we're content, we are in that zone where we can be fully present and alert, but where there's a restfulness within us, a quality of calm and movement and presence and mastery, if you will, over those transitional states. One of the reasons that I myself have been doing self-hypnosis every single day since 1995, actually. Like, I think I've maybe missed 10 times. And one of the reasons that I have worked with thousands and thousands of people to teach them self-hypnosis to help with anxiety, to help with sleep, to help with all of these kinds of problems. And the reason it's been effective is because self-hypnosis is a state of rest. It is a transitional state between the conscious mind, right, where we're directing ourselves towards our affirmations, but it's more than affirmations, and a sleeping state. A trance state is not the same as being asleep, and it's not the same as being awake. It's in between. It's a resting state. Now, sometimes we can be in a resting state where we have anxiety and we can't break out of it. But one of the reasons that self-hypnosis is so powerful for calming anxiety is because anxiety states, including that spinning mind that happens when we're trying to go to sleep, when we have insomnia, those are states of self-hypnosis, but in an unpleasant way. So when you learn the skill of self-hypnosis, when you understand it, when you know how to put yourself into these resting states of calm, what you'll find is that you're able to control that busy mind, you're able to control and bring down that anxiety, and you're able to fall asleep more easily because you're familiar with this state of transition between being awake and being asleep. So, I think one of the things that can be kind of helpful in trying to understand this is that the concept of dysregulation, okay, and how that happens. So a lot of times people come to me and they say, I have terrible insomnia. I cannot fall asleep and I cannot shut down my mind. Sometimes that might be 45 minutes every single night. Sometimes that might be 3 hours every single night. I know that for myself, until I started doing daily self-hypnosis, I actually had between 4 and 7 hours of insomnia every single night when it was at its worst. And I would wake up every probably every 45 to 60 minutes. So I wasn't getting that slow wave sleep, and I was having a lot of pain, and I was having a lot of immune issues, and on and on and on. Self-hypnosis changed that. So how did I do that? Why did it change that? Why does it change it for all of these people who I work with? One of the reasons is, okay, think about it like this, right? We have a baseline, right? Let's say something like blood pressure. Okay, blood pressure, you have your normal blood pressure, it's at this level, okay? That's for most people, that's how we're born. And then you have stress. And so when you have stress, that blood pressure might go up. Then it comes back down to its normal baseline, that level that it usually stays at. That's its default, that's its reset, right? Okay, so you have that stress and it goes up and then it comes back down. And then let's say you have stress every single day. Well, now it's going up and it's coming down, but eventually, let's say you have stress all throughout the day on a regular basis, and it's elevating that blood pressure, and that blood pressure keeps trying to go back down to its baseline, but after a while, it's kind of like it keeps going up and up and up, and then it's like, whoa, wait a second, maybe that old baseline, it's just too hard to reach that, and so now you've elevated that baseline. Now that baseline, instead of being here at this normal level, is actually kind of a little bit higher, right? Because it kept going up, and then it just took so much work for it to come down that it didn't come down quite to that same level, and now that blood pressure would be elevated. Now you have a new baseline, and that's that high blood pressure, right? So then it becomes harder to relax, and it gets harder to get to that old baseline that was once normal. It's the same during the day, right? We start the day and we feel alert and we go about our business and we're moving. And that alertness, that engagement, that baseline is elevated, right? And then all of a sudden, it's time to go to bed. Well, that alertness is way up here. You've been going, and you haven't had time to rest and bring that mental and physical adrenaline and baseline back down, so that you can just go to sleep. And so it's kind of, when you think about it that way, I always think it's kind of unreasonable to ask ourselves to be so on, and then all of a sudden, like that, flip a switch and suddenly go back down to relaxed when we've been going, overriding what our bodies want to do all day, every day. So that's where I begin to see people with chronic insomnia. They come into work with me, they download my Deep and Easy Sleep Self-Hypnosis package, and they feel better. Well, why does this self-hypnosis help them? Because the self-hypnosis provides a certain kind of rest. And this is what I'm talking about. This is what's so important, which is to have rest. Now, I have a free download that's an ebook and video that you can get through the link in my profile. And I talk about the best times of day to do this. So if you're interested in that, you can download those materials and you can find out more about it. But the point is that getting quality rest at the right times that follow our natural rhythms, that bring us back to ourselves, that helps to lower that baseline and move it back to a healthy level. And if we're at a healthy level, we can sleep better. So sleep, problematic sleep, is really about having symptoms of a different kind of dysregulation in the body and in the mind. And what I think the solution is to get the right kind of rest. And so the right kind of rest is about being able to move in a calm way between those transitions, between the conscious mind, the awakeness, and the unconscious mind, the being asleep, the being relaxed, the being fully present in our bodies. And when we achieve that on a regular basis, it is so beneficial. You know, the studies have shown this. And actually, interestingly, I used the example before about blood pressure. What's fascinating about blood pressure is in studies, that have looked at high blood pressure, what they have found is that when people do daily self-hypnosis, I think it's been for 12 weeks usually in the studies, it actually brings down the blood pressure. And what's fascinating about that is that even when people then stop doing the self-hypnosis, a year later, the studies are finding that the blood pressure has sustained itself at that lower, healthier level. So that's a pretty fascinating thing, to be able to do something like self-hypnosis, to create this rest and to see that physically it brings down those baselines, and it restores calm. It is beneficial on all levels, really, in the body and in the mind, and I think in the spirit. I mean, that's part of why I do self-hypnosis every day. Once I started doing self-hypnosis every day, once I started prioritizing this kind of rest that bridges the states of mind, that creates a certain peace and tranquility throughout the day, I began to sleep significantly better. And this is one of the reasons that I love to teach people self-hypnosis. So if you want to learn more about it, you can go to the link in my profile. You can learn about the best times of day for rest. You can try it out. You can watch some of these sleep tips. I go over like little exercises in some of these sleep tips of how you can learn self-hypnosis and do it yourself, because I think that's really the key. Actually, my Deep and Easy Sleep Self-Hypnosis package, which does have audios that you can listen to, and teaches you self-hypnosis so that you can do this on your own and you can achieve those states of rest. And I really recommend getting that good rest, because it makes a big difference with sleep, and it makes a big difference with state of mind and calm and all kinds of other things. So let me know what you think. I love the feedback, and sweet dreams.